Welcome all. In this one I'm going to show you some examples of adding rational expressions at a relatively simple level. So I'm going to have, for example, 1 over x plus, let's say, 1 over 2x. So imagine we want to add these. The first observation to be made here is the following, that x is not equal to 2x. In other words, the denominators are different. So you have to make them the same. So what's the key observation that will allow us to make that happen? What we observe is that the difference between x and 2x is the 2 right here. Let me make that red, you see? In other words, this one has a 2, this one doesn't have a 2. So we would like the bottoms to be the same. In other words, we would like something like this to happen. We would like to have a 2x here plus 1 over 2x. Now I cannot just randomly put a 2 in this position, this blue 2, to match this red 2 right here. I cannot just randomly do that. So what I have to do is I have to adjust properly by also putting a 2 in the bottom, or rather the top. The reason is the following. 2 over 2 is really the number 1. That's why you're allowed to do that. So you're going to make this fraction look different, but you're not actually changing anything. So now you can work with this. It's going to be 2 times 1, which is 2, and the bottom is going to be 2x plus 1 over 2x. And then you just, because the bottoms are the same, you can copy the bottom once and add up the tops. So you're going to have 2 plus 1 in the top, and then 2x in the bottom only once, and then you're going to end up with 3 over 2x. And then this would be considered the answer right here. So now let's take a look at this example here. I'm going to do 1 over u squared and then plus 1 over u. I want to make sure the bottoms match. How do I do that? So first of all, I got to remember that u squared is really u times u, by the definition of what it means to be squared, and then plus 1 over u. Again, look at the bottoms and compare them carefully, right? Like u is not the same as u squared. They're not equal. Take a look. Match this one in red, that u in red, with this u in red. And now there's this other u here. I'm going to make that one, say, green right here. That's missing right here. So what you have to do is you have to multiply by a u on the bottom to match. But you cannot just multiply by a u on the bottom. You always have to multiply by a form of the number 1, which means on the top you also have to multiply by u. So this is allowed. Let me stress this for the simple reason that, again, u divided by u is 1. This then gives us the same denominator. So now you're going to have, in other words, 1 over u squared, going back to exponents, and then plus 1 times u is u, and in the bottom I have u times u, which again is u squared. And now I can simply rewrite this as 1 plus u. So add up the numerators, and in the bottom I can just put the denominator once as u squared, and then this would be considered the answer here. So now let's take a look at this one. Imagine we have 1 over xy minus 3 over x. The key observation here is that xy is not, let me put that in the right way, is not the same as x, because this has a y and this has just x. They're not the same. So what do we do? Well, again, x times y is already as simple as you can make it. It's not like you can factor anything here. So you're going to say xy minus 3 over x, and take a look. So the x part here matches the x part here already. They're fine. What's missing in this one right here is the y in the bottom. So you're going to multiply x by y in the bottom, but you cannot just multiply in the bottom, then you must also multiply in the top exactly the same way. Let me stress this one more time. This is allowed because y divided by y is 1. So you're not changing anything, you're just going to make it look different to the eye, but it's a superficial difference. So now you're going to have 1 over xy, in other words, minus 3y over xy. So the bottoms are the same. So now we're going to say 1 minus 3y, combine the numerators, and then copy the bottom only once, xy this way, and then this would be considered the answer. Let's take a look at our next example. It's going to look like the following here. 1 over x squared y plus 1 over xy. Again, let's make this key observation here, that x squared y is not the same as xy. This has x squared, this is only an x. So we're going to begin again by factoring so we can compare the parts. So I'm going to have 1 over x times y, because x squared is x times x, plus 1 over xy. Now notice carefully and match what you can. So for example, like this x in red matches this x, and this, say, y here in green matches this y in green right here. So this black x right here in the middle is not matched by an x in this fraction right here in the denominator. So what you can do is you can just stick it in, for example, here even. Doesn't matter where you put it. But now also add this to the numerator. So it's going to be 1 times x in the numerator, because, let me stress this, the reason is always very simple, because x times x is 1. And then you're going to do the following. So it's going to be, in other words, 1 over x squared y plus x over x squared y. And now the denominators are the same, so you can just add up the numerators. So you're going to have 1 plus x, and you're going to divide this by x squared y this way. And then this pretty much would be the answer in this context. So let's make that note, answer. So now let's finish up our lesson here. Take a look at this. The bottoms again are different, right? It's clear that we have 3x squared y, which is not the same as 6xy squared. There's a 3 here and a 6 here different, right? This is x to the first, this is x squared different. This is y squared different. So the denominators are different. So make sure we understand that. So a stage in the process would be then to simply rewrite everything in factored form. So 3 times x times y plus 5. And now 5 is as simple as you can make it. Same thing with the 2 up here. But the 6 is really 3 times 2, for example, you see? And then times x times y and then times y. So notice that this 3 here is already matched by this 3 here. So those parts are the same. Now look carefully. This x, for example, that I'm going to make also red is already matched by this x in this position. So that's done. And let's see, this y in red is matched by this y in red right here, see? Look at this one here. There's this extra x, let's see, in green. I hope you can see it. There's a green x right here, okay? That's missing in this one. So what you have to do for that reason is you have to multiply the 5 by x and also multiply by an x in the bottom here. So again, this is x divided by x, which is 1. So that's allowed. And now, look at the one on the left side carefully. What's missing in the one on the left side? Well, you don't have a 2. So you're going to multiply by an additional 2 over 2, like this. It doesn't matter where, just place it somewhere. You can place it with the 3, between the x and the x, it doesn't matter. In front of the 3, after the 3, place it in here because the only operation here is multiplication. It doesn't matter where you put it. Now after that, look, in this one here, there are 2 y's. The issue here, there's only 1 y. So you need to also then multiply by y up here and then y down below, like this. And now, let's look through these very carefully. Let's clean them up a little bit, so write them in the same order. So 2 times 2y is 4y. And in the bottom, I would have the following. 3 times 2 times x times y times y. And look at the second one now. It's going to be 5x. And in the bottom is going to be 3 times 2 times x. So place the x's adjacent and then times y times y. Now the denominators look identical. And then you can work it from here. So it's going to be 4y over, let me fix that. So 4y over 6x squared y squared plus 5x over 6x squared y squared this way. Now the denominators really are the same, and you can just add the numerators. So 4y plus 5x, and you're going to divide this by 6x squared and then y squared, and that's it for this lesson. So thank you, friends. Please leave a like, please subscribe. I hope it was helpful. I will see you in another video.